Mob Entertainment has just given us tons of recent news about the Chapter 4 monster and who it's actually going to be. And that's not all, because we also got news just regarding Chapter 4 in general, when it could release, and what I think is our first clue for the Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 ARG, and a lot more, so you're going to want to stay tuned. But I know you all clicked on this video for the Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 monster, so let's start off with that. So very recently, Mob Entertainment has been doing something we haven't really seen them do ever, but they've been copywriting names that are most likely going to be characters in Chapter 4. Most likely the villains of Chapter 4. Because we do know that there is going to be more than one villain in Chapter 4. So what are these names that they've copyrighted? Well, the first name that they decided to copyright is Yarnaby, which I actually did talk about a little bit in my last couple of videos, but they just copyrighted a new one, which I do want to talk about, and that name is Doughy the Doughman. Now, this is not really what I was expecting for the Chapter 4 monster. Obviously, right after Chapter 3 ended, the main theory was that the prototype was going to be the next villain, because at the end of Chapter 3, Poppy said that we need to kill the prototype, pretty much hinting that he's going to be the villain for the next game. And while I do think he is going to be in this game, and maybe we'll get a potential face reveal, I don't think he's going to be the main villain. But if Mob Entertainment really has a story that they want to tell, and they don't really need 10 chapters for it, then if that is the case, I think it would be best to end it at Chapter 4 or 5. But if the main villain in Chapter 4 is Doughy the Doughman like it says here, then I doubt that it's going to be the last game in the series. But let's talk about this character and what he might be able to do in Chapter 4. Well, from his name, it sounds like he's going to be made out of dough, so maybe his main form of attack will be like drowning us in the dough or something. Maybe he has his own section at the Playtime Cove facility, which we'll go to in Chapter 4, which is where we'll have to end up defeating him. But there is something I want to bring up for the Yarnaby name, which I actually recently found out and I didn't bring up in any of my other videos. But in Chapter 3, there was this weird poster on the wall which said, "Watch out," and it never really got an explanation. It had this really weird looking character that we still haven't seen in the games yet, with two very long eyes, and it looks like they're connected to some type of spring. But why do I want to talk about this? Well, one of the main arguments with these copyrighted names is these might not even be for Poppy Playtime, because they weren't copyrighted under Poppy Playtime, they were copyrighted under Mob Games, which means that these could be used for a different game that Mob Entertainment is working on. Maybe these are for their YouTube channel, who knows? But if this photo was in Chapter 3 of these springy eyes, and the name Yarnaby sounds like it's going to be some type of yarn monster, when you look up on Google yarn monster, it comes up with all these arts and crafts photos, and the eyes on most of them looks exactly like the ones we see in this picture. So is it possible that the Yarnaby monster actually is for Poppy Playtime and will be in Chapter 4? Because why would this photo be in Poppy Playtime if they're teasing it for a different game not related to Poppy Playtime at all? So yes, I do think Yarnaby is going to make an appearance in this game, but now the question is, who's going to be the main villain? Yarnaby or Doughy the Doughman? Now if I had to take a guess, I would say Yarnaby, and maybe Doughy the Doughman is a character that could speak, because honestly, I think the villains for Poppy Playtime are a lot scarier and more threatening if they can't speak. So it seems like Doughy the Doughman might be able to talk to us while he's trying to kill us. And maybe since Yarnaby is literally just a ball of yarn, he won't be able to speak. But now before I move on, there's one more thing that I want to talk about with these copyrighted names. And it actually has nothing to do with Doughy the Doughman or Yarnaby. It actually has something to do with Kissy Missy. But if you go on to Mob Entertainment's website and you see their copyrighted names, apparently the name Kissy Missy is dead/abandoned. So I don't know if this means that they're not going to use her character anymore, or maybe the copyright on her character ran out, which I don't think is the case because the copyright on characters usually lasts around 70 years. So I don't really know why this name is dead/abandoned. But then for some reason, if you scroll down a little bit more on their website, the name Poppy Playtime's Kissy Missy is live/pending, meaning that the name Poppy Playtime's Kissy Missy is still copyrighted, but just the name Kissy Missy apparently isn't. Now, I don't really know what's going on. This could just be a glitch that'll get fixed soon, but I'll let you guys know in the future about any updates on this and what it actually means for Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. But now, the next little piece of news that I want to go over is something that actually happened in Mob Games' Discord server only a couple days ago, which could be our first teaser for Chapter 4. So one of the devs that's super active in their Discord server, Toby, a couple days ago started talking about something that he was going to announce, but he said he wanted to wait for a couple more people to come in, and he wanted more people to gather around. He said, "Alright, I have something, it's important, it's something related to the future, I have some news, just waiting on people to gather. It's something you have to figure out, I'll get to it." And then what he said next was pretty interesting, but also kind of random at the same time. He left this pretty long message that I'm going to read out, and he also did make a tweet about it on Twitter, and the official Mob Games Twitter account actually responded to him, confirming that this might actually mean something and might not just be a joke. But here's what he said. "I have been waiting for this for so long. Sometimes I can't remember my name, but I want you to make sure that it lives long enough after the events that may occur in the future. Things happen, but I think we can make it out of this together." Now, the font he's using when he types this out is super weird, and it makes it look like some sort of quote. And now this could be a line of dialogue from Chapter 4, but I think what it most likely is the dialogue from the first teaser trailer for Chapter 4. which we still don't have, but this honestly would be a pretty perfect line for a first teaser trailer for a game, especially Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. And if we think in the context that either Poppy or the prototype is saying this, it makes even more sense. For whatever reason, whoever is saying this wants their name to live on, whatever that means. And I think that it's 100% either Poppy or the prototype. But the only thing that throws me off is the last sentence. Things happen, but I think we can make it out of this together. That makes me think that it's almost 100% Poppy saying this. Because unless the prototype is trying to trick us like how he is with the Ollie voice in Chapter 3, there's no way he would ever say something like that. And obviously ever since Chapter 2, Poppy has turned around from being evil. Because obviously at the end of Poppy Playtime Chapter 2, the cliffhanger was her crashing the train that we were in. And then in Chapter 3 we worked with her, getting to kill Catnap. So yes, I do think that this is the dialogue we're going to hear when the first Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 teaser trailer comes out. Now the only question is, when is this actually going to come out? Well, obviously, if one of the devs is saying the entire thing in the Discord server and on Twitter, it has to be coming out pretty soon, right? Well, my guess is sometime around this October, because obviously that's the month with Halloween, and Poppy Playtime is a horror game, so the first teaser trailer will make sense to be there. And we do know that the ARG has officially started, so once the fans find out some more clues, and we actually get a website for this ARG, we'll get the teaser trailer and the full trailer. But now I'm going to talk about a new update we got on the Chapter 2 console port. So back in December 2023, Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 was released onto almost all consoles except for Xbox. But then later in 2024, we finally got it on Xbox. So now everyone's wondering, where's Chapter 2? I mean, it's been over half a year since we've gotten Chapter 1, so it should be out by now. Well, here's an update on that. Someone in their Discord server said, Mr. Toby, I know we console port players have been very annoying over the last 2 months, but is there any update on Chapter 2? If not, that's okay. But then after he put that, Toby asked another question for Chapter 2, and then the guy said yes. So then Toby said, I already told you that it was very near. So it seems like he's starting to get a little bit annoyed with these questions, because it seems like Chapter 2 is going to be coming to consoles very soon. I'm hoping by this September, but that is really soon, so I don't know if we're going to get it that fast. But a couple weeks ago, the day that the Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 recap video came out, we got an update on the Chapter 2 console port, and they said that it was coming soon, and we still don't even have like a release date confirmation for when it's coming out, so hopefully sometime this month or next month. But because of a Discord message left in the chat yesterday about Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 on console, I'm about to make a guess which might actually be right, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So someone in their chat said making games costs money. And Toby the dev responded by saying, yeah, we took like 8 months to fully remake Chapter 1 and port it to consoles. So even though Chapter 1 can be beaten around 15 minutes if you're speedrunning it, it took 8 full months for them to put it on console. And the development time for all of Chapter 3 was 8 months. So it was just as hard making Chapter 1 on console as it was to make Chapter 3 in general. And Chapter 2 is a much longer game than Chapter 1, so it's definitely going to be a little while. But since it's already been over 8 months, I'm pretty sure we can expect this sometime in the next couple months. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to help support the channel. Goodbye.